Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm in my kitchen. Most of my videos I think will be in here because the lighting is always really good in here. So I am on my period. I started my period today. I am very grateful and happy that I am on my period. Might sound crazy because a lot of girls, well, a lot of us women don't really like being on our periods, but for me, it's something that I'm very grateful and blessed to be going through as a woman because I lost my period for 8 months. Yep, 8 months. And I know there's a lot of girls out there who are either currently going through that or have went through that. And if they're currently going through that, I am going to be sharing in today's video what I did to get my period back and to balance my hormones out again. And as you can see, that's why I'm wearing a comfy outfit today. I'm wearing literal a onesie and my Uggs. I'm warm and cozy. I literally only just kind of did my hair a little bit, but I'm not wearing any makeup. Obviously my skin is broken out. I only put on a little lip gloss, but I don't have it. You know, it is what it is. This is just me on a normal day. And if I want to be real on my channel and honest and raw, this is me. Let's get into it. Let's talk about what I did. But I do want to make a few disclaimers before I start my video. I am not a healthcare professional. You can just watch, take some advice, take it with a grain of salt. These are just things that I did that worked for me with my own research and with the help of other healthcare professionals. So yeah, do whatever works best for you. And if you are currently going through this where you do not have a period and it's been more than 3 months, I highly strongly recommend you go see a doctor just so that they can figure out what's going on with your hormones and all of that, and so that they can help you better, because 20-year-old on YouTube is not going to make the cut. Okay, I can give you advice, I can give you tips, but at the end of the day, I'm not a healthcare professional. And I also want to make a trigger warning disclaimer. I will be talking about food and eating habits and relationship with food and weight and BMI and different topics in that realm. So if any of those things are triggering you or you're in active ED recovery, I would actually recommend this video for you because I will be touching a lot on those topics. Let's get started. Let's get into this video. I want to begin first on the reason why I lost my period. I lost my period on March of 2023. The last period I had before March was February 2023. So I lost my period from March to November of 2023. I finally got my period back. The reason why I lost my period had a lot to do because I went through a very drastic weight loss. There's nothing wrong with losing weight, especially if it makes you feel good, if it makes you feel better as a person, or if it's for health reasons. My issue was that I lost all that weight in a very short amount of time, and that's not healthy. And the way that I lost weight was also not healthy, which is what I'm gonna get into. Eating habits. I have always been a person who has kind of had like a strained relationship with food. Growing up, I grew up with parents who ate everything. Both of my parents aren't picky eaters. They like all fruits, they like all vegetables, they like trying new foods and everything. They've never really done like specific diets. Like they're not vegan, they're not vegetarian, none of that. But they also try to eat healthy. But along with eating healthy, they also have that balance where if they want to eat, if they're craving chips or if they're craving popcorn or if they're craving cookies or whatever, they're not gonna allow themselves those things. To put it in a nutshell, they're kind of intuitive eaters. They eat when they want to, and when they're full, they stop. That's how I grew up. My parents never really forced me to finish the food on my plate. If I was hungry, they would give me a snack or give me my meal, and if I was full, they wouldn't force me to finish my plate. They would just let me eat until I was full, and they would never deny me of candy and cookies and stuff. Obviously, they gave everything to me in moderation. They still allowed me all of those things. I was never restricted from anything as a child. But for some reason, growing up, once I started like entering mostly my teenage years, I became very self-conscious and very about my body. And I, even then, like around middle school and high school, I never really restrained myself from eating anything. If I wanted to eat chips, I would eat chips. If I wanted to eat a cookie, I would eat a cookie. If I wanted yogurt, I would eat yogurt. If I wanted eggs, I would eat eggs. Like, I was never the type of person to be like, I'm not eating this or I can't eat that. But there were times where if I felt like I overate or anything like that, I would feel this like guilt inside of me. But that never really changed my relationship with food. I just kind of ate whatever I wanted. But I've always had like a very weird relationship with my body. But then especially once I started like my freshman year of college, I became more self-aware of the fact that I had put on more weight. Throughout my entire life, I've never really had any struggles with my weight in the sense of like I've never been overweight or dealt with any of that. I've never really been a bigger person. I've always just been kind of skinny, and I've always worked out. Like when I was little, I would do jazz and ballet and all of that. In middle school, I did gymnastics. Throughout high school, I walked everywhere. Still to this day, I walk, I do Pilates, all of that. Basically, in a nutshell, I've always been a very active person. But when I entered my freshman year of high school, my freshman year of college, I kind of stopped working out. I think I just kind of got used to like COVID and staying at home and not really doing anything. And because of that, I did put on more weight. I became very self-aware of that, and I didn't really like how my body looked. I didn't like how I felt. And on top of that, I felt like my eating habits got really bad. Before, I would just kind of eat whatever like my grandma would cook or what my mom would cook. And like I said, my mom is very conscious about the way that she eats. She does try to eat healthy and balanced, and my grandma does this to a certain extent. You know, I live in a Mexican household, Hispanic household, so a lot of the foods are very calorically dense, but that's fine. Whatever my grandma would make, I would eat. But on top of that, I was also eating a lot of very processed foods, which there's nothing wrong with eating processed foods. It's just knowing to eat them in moderation. So my eating habits were not the best. I was not working out, so I put on some weight, which is totally fine. Your body changes as the years go on, but to me, I was like, I don't feel good. I want to start working out again. So that's what I did. And I found out about Pilates through TikTok. A lot of people were talking about it, how it was amazing, how it made people feel really good, and it was really perfect for people who don't really like going to the gym or weightlifting and stuff like that. And that's not really been me. I've never really liked working out around other people unless it was like a recreational activity, if that makes any sense. Like dance or like maybe even Zumba. I like Zumba, like stuff like that is what I like, but I don't really like going to a gym and like, you know, lifting weights. You know, that's just not for me. So when I heard about Pilates, I was like, okay, this sounds perfect. And I watched videos about it and it looked super gentle. It kind of reminded me of ballet a little bit. So I was like, I'm gonna try it out. So I started trying it out at home and I fell in love with it. I was like, this is so nice. Like, this is gentle movement and it's making me feel good. Like, I'm actually motivated to keep going. I kept going with my Pilates, and I also changed my ways of eating. I decided that I was gonna eat more clean, stop eating less processed foods, and start eating more whole organic foods, and focus more on ingredients and what I was putting into my body, which is great. Sounds amazing, right? But unfortunately, I started restricting myself a lot, immensely. In the beginning, I was trying to lose weight in a very healthy way, and my mom was super supportive of it as well. I told her one day while we were in the car, I told her, Mom, like, I don't feel good about my body. I don't like the way I look. I want to lose weight and I want to look more lean and toned. And my mom was like, well, if you want to do that, you can start working out and eating better, like, you know, like, go for it, but just be healthy about it, you know? But like I said in the beginning, I was doing really well. I was doing everything in very healthy ways, but it soon turned into something very unhealthy because I reached a point where I was restricting myself. I was not eating enough and I was overworking my body. I reached a point where if I would go to a birthday party or if I would go to any special event or anything like that, I would not allow myself to eat anything that wasn't cooked by me, that I didn't know the ingredients that were in it. And I stopped eating my grandma's food. I stopped eating my family's food. I stopped eating anything that was not something that I cooked. Eventually, that obsession with only eating clean ingredients and clean organic foods turned into not eating anything at all. There were days that I would go to work on an empty stomach. So I work in an elementary school and I work 6.5 hours a day. And if you work with children, you know that is a lot of moving around, like you need to have a lot of energy for that, not just mentally but physically, especially because you have to, if a kid runs away, you have to sprint after them. If a kid falls, you have to, you always have to be active, you have to be awake, you have to be focused, you have to have a lot of energy in your body for that kind of job. You move around a lot, you walk, you're on your feet all day, so you need to have energy for that. And I would go to work on an empty stomach, and I wouldn't even eat sometimes when I would get home. And then on top of that, I would walk from work. So I still, to this day, I walk from work, but before I would walk from work to my house on an empty stomach, and that is a 30-minute walk. So imagine this. I wake up in the morning, I don't eat anything, I go to work, I'm moving around all day on my feet all day for 6.5 hours. On top of that, I do a 30-minute walk from work to my home, and I still have nothing to eat. That is not okay. And then on top of that, I would work out at night for like 3-4 hours. That is not okay. It is not healthy. If you don't have anything in your stomach, what are you working out for? You're not gaining any muscle. You're not losing anything. You're not burning off calories. You're literally just your body eventually, when you starve yourself, starts feeding off of your organs. Basically, your body starts to eat itself because you are not feeding it with nutrients and vitamins and minerals and protein and carbohydrates and all of that. Your body tries to find a way to keep you alive and keep you going. So what does it do? It literally starts feeding itself by kind of consuming your own body. And if I did eat, I would probably eat once a day. Like my eating habits became so horrendous. And I lost a crazy amount of weight. Eventually, I was very underweight. My BMI was very low, and that causes you to lose your period. The first time I went to see a doctor, they told me that my hormones and everything was balanced, but I had lost my period because when you lose a drastic amount of weight in such a short amount of time, your body needs time to get used to that new body, if that makes any sense. So your body needs time to regulate its hormones again. And my doctor basically told me, you're at a healthy weight, you're at a healthy BMI, but you are at risk of being underweight. So if you keep losing more weight, you are not going to get your period back at all. So you need to either maintain your weight, or if you want to gain a little bit, that's perfectly fine. But instead, I lost even more weight and I became underweight, which is exactly what I was told the opposite of not to do. And it's also the same for drastic weight gain. So if you gain a ton of weight in a short amount of time, you also lose your period because your hormones are not balanced. It is also the same with athletes and people who work out a lot. A lot of women lose their periods again because you are straining your body a lot. If you work out a lot and you don't allow yourself a rest day or anything of that sort, you are putting so much strain on your body by not allowing it to rest. And that is going to mess with your hormones very badly. If you work out, that's great, but you also need to learn to balance working out and knowing that it is okay to have rest days. It is for your health. Trust me. One day of you not working out or simply doing very gentle activities such as walking or yoga or things like that is not going to hurt you. You don't have to weight lift every day. You don't have to sprint miles every single day for you to be healthy. If anything, it's healthier for you to take care of your body and be gentle with it every once in a while. It's going to help your hormones. Women have different body compositions and different hormones in comparison to men. We need to be more gentle with our bodies, and we need to listen to our bodies more in order for us to maintain healthy hormones and a healthy menstrual cycle. So yeah, I was very underweight. My BMI was very low. So when you go through that, your body, once again, your hormones are like everywhere. So in order to balance that, my first biggest tip is eat. Girl, you need to eat. You need to nourish your body, and you need to make your body feel good, because without that energy, you are not going to feel good. Trust me. You might think, yeah, my body looks amazing, whatever, but at what cost? At what cost? You're straining your body, you're starving yourself. At what cost? Now you don't have a period, you are at risk of being infertile, and you are at risk of osteoporosis. If you didn't know, your period also helps maintaining healthy bones. If you don't get your period, your bones literally start to deteriorate, and it leads to things such as arthritis and osteoporosis and all of that. So you want to eat, you want to have good eating habits, and you also want to make sure that you maintain a healthy weight and a healthy BMI, because that helps your hormones stay balanced. And if your hormones are balanced, your menstrual cycle is balanced. So that is the number one thing. Eat and focus on maintaining a healthy weight and a healthy BMI. So I had to do a quick location change, and my outfit changed a little bit, but we're gonna finish this video. So the second thing that I did that I think really helped me balance out my hormones again and get my period back is something called seed cycling. So basically what seed cycling is eating incorporating two different types of seeds into your diet to help balance out your hormones depending on what menstrual phase you are at. So basically, during the first 2 phases of your menstrual cycle, you switch between flax and pumpkin seeds. And then once you begin ovulating and your luteal phase, you switch between sunflower seeds and sesame seeds. For those who do not have their period or do not get their period, in order to begin seed cycling, you switch every 2 weeks between those seeds that I just mentioned. So for me, when I still was not getting my period, for the first 2 weeks of the month, I would switch between, I would incorporate flax and pumpkin seeds into my diet one way or another, whether that was buying pumpkin seeds or drinking flax milk or flax meal and adding it into my yogurt, adding pumpkin seeds into my desserts, or different things like that. You can incorporate flax seeds into your diet in many different ways. And then the last 2 weeks of the month, switch between sunflower seeds and sesame seeds. So I would include sesame seeds into my noodles, or my eggs, like sprinkling them on my eggs, or eating a lot of tahini or sunflower butter, things like that. So seed cycling, that helps balance out your hormones. And I mean, I have my period back, so I would like to think that seed cycling really helped me. And on top of that, I did notice that when I started seed cycling and focusing on my hormones and all of that, it also really started to regulate my digestive system, because I was having a lot of issues with that due to the fact that I was not eating well and I was very underweight. So seed cycling, again, along with balancing out your hormones, is so important, not just to your menstrual cycle, but also to your digestive system and basically everything. So the final thing that really helped me as well was focusing a lot on cycle syncing. So there are 4 phases that I kind of already mentioned when I was talking about seed cycling. So the first one is your menstrual phase, then you have your follicular phase, your ovulation phase, and your luteal phase. So there are different things according to each phase that you are in. Depending on each phase, there are different exercises if you work out, different exercises that you should really focus on, different things that you should eat. Syncing your diet and your exercise and all of that to your phases has really helped me and helped me balance out my hormones so much. For example, during your menstrual cycle, your hormones are going through a lot of changes. You are more prone to bloating, you are more prone to water retention, you are more prone to breaking out your body is more exhausted, different things like that. So during your menstrual phase, I mean, if you want to, that's fine, but it's not preferred for you to be doing extreme cardio and HIIT workouts. It's better to do gentle things such as Pilates or yoga or walking, different activities like that, in comparison to when you are in like your when you are ovulating or when you're in your luteal phase. First of all, your metabolical rate is higher, and which is also why, if you have noticed, before you are about to begin your period, which is your luteal phase, your appetite is more increased because you are burning more calories, and on top of that, your metabolical rate is so much higher that your body naturally is going to ask you for more food, more calories. At the time when I was not eating well and stuff, and I was restricting a lot, even when I was feeling extreme hunger, I was not allowing myself those things, and I was depriving myself of those things, which really messed with my hunger hormone. So I reached a point where I didn't even know when I was full, when I wasn't, and again, it messes with your hormones. Your hormones are so important to maintaining a healthy menstrual cycle. During your follicular phase, you have more energy, so it's better to do activities such as dancing or hiking. During your menstrual cycle, I try now to avoid caffeine and alcohol and things that really, because caffeine really messes with your hormones as well, and so does alcohol. So anything that I know is going to affect my specific phase during my menstrual cycle and cause that disbalance that I don't want anymore, I try to avoid, or I try to incorporate to maintain that balance. It seems like a little bit, but in the long run, I feel like these are the 4 things that have really helped me. Again, like I said, I am not a healthcare professional, so what might work for me might not work for you. If you are currently going through this, you need to go see a healthcare professional who can truly give you the help that you need and the resources that you need to get your period back. But also, nobody knows your body more than yourself. So do what you feel is best for you, what makes you feel the healthiest, what makes you feel the most energized, and just what makes you feel the best overall. For me, doing these things has been helping me because, like I said, I lost my period for 8 months, and luckily I am now back at a spot where I am getting my period back. It's only month 2 since having it back, but I'm very blessed and very grateful that I was able to turn around my unhealthy habits before it got worse. Because there are people out there who, due to bad eating habits and due to being underweight and different things like that, different health issues, haven't had their period in years. And luckily it did not reach that point for me, and I hope it never reaches that point for me again. I mean, I'm only 20 years old, but I am still not fully finishing developing, and I know there's so many girls out there who, we look at people on social media and we see these models that are so thin and so beautiful and have these dream bodies that a lot of us wish we had, but at the end of the day, we need to realize that a lot of those things are not realistic. I mean, not everything in social media is the way you think it might be. Like, at the time when I was underweight, when I was under eating, I had a lot of people telling me like, oh my gosh, you look great and you look so thin and this and that. Like, yes, I was thin, but at what cost? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that I'm not a skinny person anymore. Like, I am. At least I'm not at the point that I was before. I feel like especially girls, when during their teenage years, during middle school and high school, I feel like those are the times when we are the most judgmental of ourselves. To any teenage girls watching this, you are still growing. Your body is still developing. So you need to eat. You need to eat, you need to nourish yourself, you need to get your nutrients, your vitamins, everything that you need so that you can grow up to be a healthy, beautiful woman. And that's what I am trying to accomplish now. Literally, when I lost my period, it felt like I was going through puberty all over again. It's just not a place that you want to be at. because my hormones were so disbalanced, I was going through a lot emotionally, mentally, and physically too. I always had really low energy. I could barely get through my workouts. Like, it was just a lot, and it was not good for me at all. I'm very happy that I was able to get myself out of that place and put myself into a better mindset and start working towards healing my relationship with food. And right now I can say I'm at a place where even on days where I'm having bad body image, or days where I feel like I overate, or things like that that could be triggering, it's not like I wake up the next day anymore and say, oh, I'm going to restrict myself, or I'm going to work out for 4 hours straight, 5 hours straight, because at the end of the day, I know that's not good for me, and I know the consequences that come along with it. I hope you guys learned a little bit from my experience. I hope this helps you out a little bit, and that you take some of this advice, do your own research. Don't get to the place that I got to. And if you're there due to any health reasons, I hope, like I said, I hope this really helps you, and I hope that you learned a little more, because I feel like as women, a lot of the times we don't really take the time to do research on how we can keep the hormones in our bodies balanced. If you made it to the end, I thank you for watching this video. I hope you all have a wonderful, beautiful rest of your day or night, wherever you are in the world. I love you, and thank you so much for watching. I'll be back with another video next weekend. Bye.